Okay, so till this point, what we understood was whatever data is there in the app, how to document it on our paper, and those 8 or 10 points which are there, which I call as data collection, how to do the data collection. Okay, so this is basically the background or the backdrop on which you start analyzing. If all this is not in place, don't start analyzing, because then you'll be doing a halfway job. Okay, so now that we have got all this in place, I'm sharing the screen now. Okay, now what I want you to do is all this that we have collected over here, I want you to tell me what that means, because all this that I've marked over here, all this are firstly the verification for the question, but at the same time, like I keep saying, it also gives you the answer to the questions over there. Okay, so now one by one, just answer me. You all can just raise your hands or you can answer them, no problem. This is going to tell you something about the query. Okay, so Udayam Lord is Saturn. What can that tell? Can you tell me what does Saturn stand for? Now just see over here, Saturn, second house, 111. Okay, just keep this in mind. Saturn का क्या कारक है? Do you all know? Ami, do you know? Come on the screen if possible. मेरे को blank screen पे बात करना ही नहीं होता.
Saturn shows delay.
Okay, delay. I don't think you all are all aware of Karaka. Saturn shows career.
Career also, yeah.
Okay, it is Lord of, we said, second house. Second house is what? Self-earned income. I hope you all have got those 10 or 12 pages what I told you to do. So as I'm telling you, you write down. Ami, can you come on the camera in case it is not a problem? So Saturn.
Give me 5 minutes, Manish. Give me 5 minutes, yeah.
Manish, I'll join you. I'm sorry, my video is off.
Yeah, you told me. No problem. You come. So Saturn के उधर लिख लो career, आगे लिखो delay. Okay. Saturn के आगे लिखो bitterness. Okay. Saturn को लिखो low paid employee. Saturn के लिए लिखो employee also. Saturn के आगे लिखो slow. Okay. Saturn is also built property. So these are all Saturn के कारक तत्व, basic few. Okay, there are many more, but these are few. In the human body, Saturn is also the legs and especially the knees that comes in Saturn. Chalo, theek hai. Abhi, we are trying to analyze this. So Saturn, we said, was all this. Now I'm saying, now we are looking at second house. Second house का main कारक तत्व is addition to family. Second house is also self-earned income. Second house is the house of speech. Second house is the house of food habits. Okay. So among so many things, these are something which we require. First house is everything related to the person himself or herself. So every damn thing what comes with that person is there. Plus the health and immunity also comes over there. And 11th house is the house of Ichha Purti or desire fulfillment and gains, G-A-I-N-S, gains, and also friends. Now I want Shishir or Ami to tell me, ये सब कारक तत्व जो अभी लिखे उसमें से what do you think is coming out of this? Saturn as career, second house as income, first house as self, 11th house of gains and Ichha Purti. What do you think? These are the dots. Now you have to learn to join the dots. I've given you the answer. You tell me Saturn, career, second house, self-earned income, 1 self, 11 Ichha Purti or gains. So what could the question be related to?
either health or income, self-earned income.
नहीं, health का
So
सवाल
whether
नहीं।
we get the job or not.
हाँ, health को knowledge is it?
So first, sorry,
नहीं, नहीं.
the first house is health.
हाँ, so you have to. That's what I'm saying. Here the logic starts to come into play. हाँ, Ami, what did you say? I didn't hear you well. What did you say?
No, whether the question will be that whether he's going to get the job or an increment in the job or something like that.
हाँ, because Saturn career, house of income, for self gains. Okay. So as of now, it is trying to show us. I don't know which case this is. Okay, this is just Arabic case which I picked up, but we are just trying to pitch in the dark. Now let us go to. So this is one part. We have not yet verified. Second one is planet crossed in our head. Venus has crossed. Mercury is approaching. What does Venus stand for? So Venus is Lakshmi, Paisa. Okay. Venus is anything related to art. Okay. Venus for a guy, it is his wife. Okay. That is Venus. Then Venus can be silver. Okay. So many things. If you go to see Mercury, Mercury basically is communication. First character of Mercury is communication. Documentation. Okay. Communication, documentation, any sort of accounting, banking, all that comes in this. I hope you are writing this in the character. So now, if you see, Venus has crossed. So Venus abhi kahan baitha hai? Venus is seated in the 12th house. Mercury jo hai, Mercury is in the 2nd house. What can this be out of all the characters I said? So 12th house is a house of loss. 12th house is a house of investment. 12th house is the house of foreign settlement. 2nd house I told you that self-income and all that. So now join the dots and tell me that what does Venus in the 12th house? It has already passed. It has crossed. So nikal gaya. Okay. And Mercury in the 2nd house is coming in. This is actually telling a totally different story now.
So he's looking to do the documentation for settling down abroad or some shifting.
Maybe Mercury का एक मैं बोलना भूल गया. Mercury is also पराया और पराई. ये extramarital sort of thing. वो भी हो सकता है. So like what Shishir is saying, that is also important thing. It could be Venus, म्हणजे the wife is settling abroad, that is 12. Okay, and he is doing the documentation for addition to family में wife again. So that is a very nice point. Shishir, that was predictable. I well understood what he is saying. What Shishira said is an important point. So basically what he said was, this is the planet which has crossed. Crossed में already हो गया. ये जो है वो हो रहा है. Correct? So what is this trying to say? Like what Shishir is saying, Venus, your wife, connected to 12th house of foreign settlement. So maybe she's going abroad for foreign settlement or maybe for studies also. Because Mercury is also studies. Mercury is also education. So maybe the wife is going abroad. Or Venus can also be the elder of the daughter. If there are two daughters, younger one will be Mercury, elder one will be Venus. If there are three, then the top one will be Moon. So Mercury is the smallest of the lot. Second will be Venus. Third will be Moon. Normally now you might not get a fourth, but fourth kya hoga mujhe nahi malum. But basically it could be your elder daughter of the two. If there are two daughters going abroad. And Mercury is documentation in the 2nd house of, so either wife lag raha hai, because 2nd house hai. So 2nd house mein daughter nahi aayegi. Other option which comes to my mind is Venus is wife, 12th house is loss, because yahan par bhi Mars or Venus hai. So Mars is again marriage. Venus is also wife. So wife ka loss, my wife has either she has died or she has moved away, something like that. And Mercury, the other woman in his life, which is addition to the family, is coming in. Are you understanding the depth of this?
Yeah.
So, how you have to see is you have to actually join all these dots and come to a conclusion. Let me change the color a little bit. This color is mixed up. You have to mix up all these points and then start reading. So basically Venus, and why I'm saying Venus could be the wife, because Venus is here. Now this point, if you remember, I said same planet. This is where it comes, compounded effect. Venus inside is something surely related to Venus. Venus seated with Mars. Mars is Shadi. Mars is marriage. Okay. So Venus, so wife for sure, because of marriage, seated in the 12th house of loss or gone away. This is the past. And Mercury, which is Parai or the other woman, in the second house of addition to family, is coming to the Udayam. And if you see Mercury, can you see that? यहाँ पर भी Mercury है, and when it comes to Udayam, यहाँ पर भी Mercury. So Mercury ने आके खुद को स्थापित कर दिया. So this is another option. So now what happens is Saturn, if you remember, I had said bitterness. If you have written it properly, you would have written bitterness. Okay. Saturn is also a dark planet. So something dark and dingy, which to be gupta, something secretive. In the second house, addition to family, related to 1, Khudka, 11, 2, 7, 11 can also mean marriage. Because 2 is addition to family, 11th is Ichha Purti. So at this point of time, it is suddenly changing over to something related to another lady coming to this fellow's life. बाद में I will check which one I took this or one will I check just now. मैंने कहाँ से लिया था वो? Then maybe it will make more sense. Just give me one. If I'm not mistaken. कौन सा केस है? ये दूसरे वुमन का नहीं हो सकता. This is I know this. This is not a second woman. This is career related case. So let us look at it from the career point of view. Okay. So yeah, and by the way, yes, Shishi, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This is I don't want to give the name, but उसका नाम राहुल पकड़ लो. This is a case of Rahul. His wife was moving abroad for settling down in UK. And he was struggling with the documentation for the wife to go abroad. So wonderful. She is very good. Maybe it's beginner's luck, but keep that up now.
It is beginner's luck only.
So that's why I say, but keep it up. Chalo, Ami, now your turn to Abhi. One love over there. Now you start. Okay, chalo. Now, so till now, we are verified the question. Okay. As of now, we are today guys should be verifying it, but analysis becomes slightly common. अभी ये नक्षत्र अभी फिलहाल तो अपन भूल गए, चलो छोड़ दो. Now Badak Sthan, very important. Badak Sthan is the 11th house. What did I tell you 11th house was? 11th house is the house of Ichha Purti. 11th house is the house of desire fulfillment. 11th house is the house of gains. 11th house is the house of friends. Correct? So Badak स्थान अगर 11 हो गया यानी something related to gains में बाधक आ गया. See, as we are going along, if you understand what we are doing is we are joining the dots and making a story and we are building up the story so that entire scene is coming in front of the eyes. अभी समझ में आ रहा है? You can just do this. This is the protocol we follow. Huh? Okay. So basically, 11th house, which is basically the house of Ichha Purti, along with Mars, which I told is the Karak of marriage, has become the Badak Sthan. What does this tell you? Now tell me. Ami, bolo. Ami, अभी इधर से प्रोफेसर से लेके तुम स्टूडेंट के इस पे आ गए ना, कुर्सी पे आ गए, so I will shout at you. वैसे भी बोलो. Ami, what is Badak is something Badak, obstacle. 11th house, Ichha Purti, Mars, marriage. Tell me what is this telling you?
Like, hello.
Huh? Who's talking? I can't hear. Ami, please okay.
No, I got stuck. I could not get your question. The network got stuck.
Okay, I'll tell you again. Badak Stan is basically obstacles. वहां पर 11th house है, that is house of इच्छा पूर्ति. वहां पर Mars है, which is basically marriage. So what are these 3 points telling you? What story are they telling you?
Perhaps it is detrimental to marriage.
हाँ, म्हणजे what?
Stopping the marriage to happen.
हाँ, dropping.
No, something
Maybe
is not letting the marriage happen.
नहीं, marriage नहीं है, married with 2 kids and all that. He is like 7-8 years
Or
younger.
Separation.
any desire, हाँ.
Separation. बरोबर ना?
Separation.
Because क्या है? She is getting the visa to go. He is not getting the visa to go. You understood? So basically, till this point, what have we understood? That the guy who had approached me, one of the points which is there important in his mind is that his wife is traveling abroad just now. Okay? Because she's settling down over there. Iska background story after the end of it, I'll tell you, then you will understand it better. She's going abroad. Okay. Now the badak or the obstacle is that obviously they're going to get separated out because she'll be in UK, this fellow is going to be in Pune. Okay. And other thing is, which you'll realize little later on, is now Kavipu is also seated here. He's basically uska documentation nahi ho raha tha. He was not able to go there because of some financial reasons or whatever. Okay. So up to this point, we have understood how we are joining. We are just learning to join the dots. Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu also is one form of verification. It also tells a story. So now Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu, 8, 11. का क्या मतलब है? 8 is the house of obstacles. लिख लो. 8th house के नीचे लिखो obstacles, accidents, sudden gains. Okay, these 5, 10 points you should know by heart. Okay, I'm also just writing about it. Obstacles, accidents, sudden gains, unearned income, so that you can get oblique parental property. This is all comes under 8th house and also occult. 11th I told you Ichha Purti hai, gains. Now tell me what does these 2 points, this point only tell you a story. Ami bolo. 8 and 11, what story is it telling you? Obstacles in. Ami, can't hear you. Unmute karo.
obstacle in getting the visa.
Obstacle is, no, proper words are. 8 is obstacles, is it? 11th I said is desire fulfillment or इच्छा पूर्ति. 8, 11 का मतलब क्या? अमी बोलो.
Obstacle in इच्छा पूर्ति.
Correct. बरोबर. Ami, are you understanding? You are not answering me. Ami, I need you to answer because बाकी का others are all champion. They have with me since long time, so they understand. Are you understanding what we are doing, Ami?
Yeah. Actually, I'm having some problem in the network, so I'm hearing only half the words. I'm just trying to join the
So
thought.
बाद में then you'll have to see the video, then you'll understand. So like Preeti Ben correctly said, if Udayam to Arudam, Udayam to Kavipu, that itself, see, every point is telling a story if you understand. बरोबर ना? So 8 and 11 क्या बता रहे हैं? 8 is obstacles, 11 is इच्छा पूर्ति. Some obstacles is the इच्छा पूर्ति. What was that? वो अपने को इधर मालूम पड़ेगा कि उसको वीजा नहीं मिलता. बरोबर? So that tells you one story. Now, another thing is Mercury seated under Saturn, seated in the house of Saturn, which is delay. That tells you another story. Okay, Mercury seated in the Udayam. What does that mean? Tell me. Udayam is what? Ascendant. Ascendant means first house. What did I say first house was? Unmute karo. What is Udayam? Anyone can answer, okay? Anyone else?
Self.
First half is health, personal health.
Health, self.
It's everything to do with the person, individual.
Correct. Whatever.
Personal character.
Person. Swata, like native. Okay. हमें तो टेंशन नहीं है क्या? जितना भी मेरे को थोड़ा दिख रहा है, तो टेंशन नहीं दिख रही है. Are you in tension? हमें
I'm
Yes,
just
having
trying to
network issues.
get the words and write it down.
Hello.
I can't see you also actually. I don't know.
Ami, what happened? What is your tension? Ami, you are behaving like Aditya
No, I
Agarwal.
can't see anyone.
Ami, what is
Can't
your
hear
tension?
you. I can only hear Cecil laughing.
You can't hear me?
He's
Itna
saying,
loud,
he's saying you're behaving like Aditya Agarwal.
Please, I already had a meeting with him today. No, my network is really bad. I can't see any of you, and I'm trying to pick up the words. Oh, ada aa raha hai thoda.
Okay, feel
And I'll
okay.
just disconnect and connect again.
Okay. I won't ask you question. Now you see the video later. Baki ke log are answering this. See
Yeah,
how they are
yeah.
answering. Okay, chalo back. Where were we now? So here we were. So Prithiben correctly said 8:11 is obstacles related to Ichhapurti. And when we went back over here, we saw that this. Sorry, we were not here. We were here. अभी मैं बोला था उदयम.
केतु के साथ.
हाँ बराबर. नहीं केतु नहीं. ये I was saying Mercury is seated in the Udayam.
First half.
So Udayam is self, that native himself who has asked the question. Barabar. Mercury is again seated in the house of Saturn only, because this is also ruled by Saturn, which you'll understand in some way. Barabar, Prithiben, you're understanding? Barabar. Now, Saturn, if you remember, I told you sometime back, is the Karak of delay, is the Karak of bitterness, delay. Mercury, I told you, is documentation. Visa comes under documentation. The license comes under documentation. Your what is it called? Marriage certificate comes under any damn document that is there. So what story does this tell? Can you tell me that Mercury, both seated under Saturn and also in the first Rashi? Can you tell me somebody? And to that add Sun. Sun is government. Sun is father. Sun is authority. Now tell me the story. What is this telling? This itself is telling a big story. Can somebody tell me? I'm pointing it out again. Mercury, seated under Saturn, with Sun. So, Prithiben, tell.
So because of some government issue, the documentation is getting delayed. So he is finding that bitterness in that.
Correct. So
He's
basically,
bitter about that.
Perfect. So Mercury, which is in Udayam, because one is approaching Udayam, one is seated in Udayam. So some documentation related to self. What sort of document? Sun related document. Sun is government. So government related document यानी क्या है? Visa. तो उसको visa नहीं मिल रहा. Correct? One more verification done. Okay. So if you understand, till this point, it has told you a big story by itself, just by these points. This is how you have to go. Now, is it getting too heavy, or should I just continue 3-4 points more? All okay? All of you okay? I'll just take I'll just take a 1 minute break. Are you all understanding? अमी अगर तुम्हारा नेट खराब है तो बाद में देखो. But what we are doing now till this point, let us just take a summary of what we did so far. First thing is that app का data we have converted into our data. App को convert करके अपने data में डालते. Then we did all the background data, whatever was there, those 8-10 points. Now we are analyzing each point, how dot, connect the dot, make a string, and that tells you a story. Then as you are getting more and more strings, try to connect them and expand the story. Because when you just see one line, it might mean so many things. जैसा अभी अपने को लगा था कि कोई पैराइज थे इसके जिंदगी में आया. ये बेचारा तो एकदमच ये संत आदमी है, तो पराई स्त्री का संबंध ही नहीं, बट आई डिडंट नो द केस, दैट्स व्हाई. सो अदर थिंग लाइक व्हाट सीसी राइट सेड, इट इज वाइफ का फॉरेन का थिंग, सो व्हिच इज करेक्ट. So then join those dots and then come ahead. Okay, I'm just going ahead now. Go to the next one. So now the next point was we did here Udayam to Arudam 811 मालूम पड़ा. अभी इसी के tandem में you have to see this point कि Kavipu is connected to which one? Saturn 11.
Saturn 11.
So Kavipu, so Udayam to Kavipu we saw was 11. बराबर. In the same breath you have to see कि Kavipu is catching, as per the general protocol, is catching whom? Saturn. What is Saturn? The first thing I told you about Saturn was what? Career. Have you written it correctly? If you have written it correctly, you would have written career. 11th house of, these things should be at the tip of your tongue. Right? 11th house, Ichhapurti. These few things I tell you. जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, पाँचे, there are around 250, 300 characters. Okay, I'm just giving you 5 or 6 of them. These have to be by heart. So, what is this story telling you? 11th house of Ichhapurti में Kavipu बैठा है, which is a crocodile, which is catching Saturn, which is your career, which is seated as a Badak Stan with Mars. Mars is job, Mars is marriage. Now tell me the story. You want me to repeat the points? Kavipu is seated in 11th house of Ichhapurti, catching Saturn, which is career, seated as a Badak in the Badak house, where Mars is the Badak lord, Mars is marriage, Mars is job. Tell me the story.
His job, marriage, all in trouble because of the visa is not
This
available.
issue is leading to all these things.
All these issues, yeah.
So if I were to say that Kavipu is the crocodile, it is the, what is the right word, negatively affecting his career, which obviously is affecting his desire fulfillment. Seated in the Badak Stan, which is the obstacle,
Making it even more difficult.
and affecting Mars, which is one, marriage, second, job.
Job.
Wonderful. The last few points. 6th, 8th, 12th Lord, tell your story. 6th Lord, okay, 6th Lord is Mercury, seated in the 9th house of of Bhagya. 9th house के आगे लिखो भाग्य स्थान, किस्मत. Okay, so this is Kismat. 8th Lord is, sorry, sorry, 6th Rashi, sorry, my mistake. 6th house is Mercury. In the house of 6th is job. 6th house Lord is Mercury. This is the house of Mercury. 6th house relates to job. 8th house is in the house of Sun. Correct? Sun is government. 8th is obstacle. 12th house Lord is Jupiter. Jupiter is Bhagya. Tell me the story now. 6th, 8th, 12th Lords are these. What are they telling you? Prithiban, you tell.
वो जो जॉब ढूंढ रहा है, ट्राई कर रहा है so that he can be with his wife.
Correct.
तो उसको वो लॉस
Obstacle
का
कौन
जगह
कर रहा है? उसको obstacle कौन कर रहा है? ये बीच वाला देखो. Obstacle.
गवर्नमेंट.
Correct.
So the job
Mercury.
which he is trying to yes.
Mercury is the documentation which
Yes.
is causing the problem. उसके लिए उसका भाग्य का problem और marriage का.
तो मनीष
हाँ जी,
इसमें पैरेलली दो चीज चल रही है, जैसे शिशिर ने बताया ना,
हम्म,
वी कैन लुक एट टू पैरेलली दैट मंगल कार्य मतलब मैरिज,
हम्म,
अगर उसको वीजा नहीं मिला तो वाइफ और वो सेपरेट हो जाएंगे तो वो भी एक इशू ही है,
बरोबर.
और जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है, डिले हो रहा है, वो भी इशू है, तो बोथ आर कंपाउंडेड इश्यूज हैपनिंग एट द सेम टाइम.
Correct. Correct. So that is why if you see, as we are going down and down in this thing, the story is opening out much, much bigger. Okay, you are not understanding one thing. Jupiter is the Karak of children. Okay, Jupiter is seated here. दूसरा Jupiter कहाँ बैठा है? ये यहाँ. मांदी के साथ बैठा है. Third house में बैठा है. Jupiter is second house. So Jupiter is kids. So you can start telling a story about kids. There are so many things you can keep saying. Son is father. So father का घर में 8th house में बैठा है. 8th house is the house of medical attention. His father is a very unwell. Son is also the Karak of heart. His father is having a heart problem. इसका 7th aspect यहाँ पर Jupiter है. Jupiter is also heart. Jupiter is actually the heart. Sun is the working of the heart. किसको? House of father. Father को heart का problem. Okay. Yeah, this exchange I'll keep for next time because that is one big topic I want to touch. But everyone understood this?
Yeah.
Okay. It can either get very interesting or very boring. So I hope I'm
Very
not bored you.
fascinating, really very fascinating, no?
But what I'm trying to tell you is now, it is just on the spur of the moment that you touch this chart, and it tells you so many facets about that fellow's life.
Hmm.
Okay. And this, let me just stop the recording.